There he is.
So it's like. You're gonna be a Texan, you wanna have a pocket. They cook you at state, they catch you without a pocket knife. Well, I don't. You got a pocket knife? So you agree with it? Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, heck, you were a kid, you 5, 6 years old, you have a pocket knife. Yeah. Really?
Nice one.
You can't be flying with a boat. They can, that shit, they can get you on the plane. They'll take it.
Thank you for your patience, and welcome. The time is 7:09. Are we good? Okay. Time is 7:09, and I'd like to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Red Oak City Council to order. Let it be known that we have a quorum present, except for Mayor Pro Tem Smith, who is online. Thanks for joining us. He's under the weather. Notice has been duly posted in accordance to Texas Government Code Section 551, and we're here to conduct business for the city and to hear citizens' comments and do presentations. Councilman Miller, would you lead us in the pledges and, of course, the invocation, please?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we begin this first meeting of the year, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. Guide us with wisdom, patience, and understanding. Help us to make decisions that will bless everyone. We ask that you will cover our mayor, our city manager, our staff who work tirelessly to help our city thrive. Watch over our first responders. Help us all, Lord. This year, make our city prosper in every way. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honorable Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Tonight we have a couple one introduction and one recognition. So, Mr. Kelly, do you have your gentleman here? We're going to go to the next February, okay? And Mr. Fuller.
So recognitions, each year we have our annual employee appreciation banquet around the holidays. At which time we hand out our service awards for 5-year increments of service, as well as nominations and selection of Employee of the Year. So I'll go through the list of service awards quickly. And for 5 years of service, we had Valencia Brown in utility billing, Tanner Birch in fire department, Shannon Chase in public works, Jacob Conger in development services, Kyle Kelly in parks, Arturo Martinez in public works, Connor Newberry in the police department, Jonathan Phillips in administration, Andrew Rieger in fire, Taisha Wells in the court. And then for 10 years of service, Jared Benford in public works, Ben Blanton in the fire department, David Palmer in the police department, Kyle Riordan in fire, Lorenzo Tamayo in public works, and Nelson Thomas in public works. 15 years of service, Gabriel Guerrera in the fire department and Kirk Markrath in the fire department. And finally, for 20 years of service, Jim Langham in the police department. So we appreciate all those folks and the increments in between, but it's the 5 years that we kind of recognize on an annual basis. We also have each year, our directors will make nominations for the Employee of the Year, and then they will vote on that. So those that were nominated, that were not selected as the Employee of the Year, but were nominated, were Ruben Favela, Utility Supervisor in Public Works, Greg Hood, IT Application Specialist, and Danny Weimer in the Park Superintendent in the Parks Department. Then finally, the Employee of the Year, which I didn't vote on because I don't vote, was the Executive Assistant to the City Manager, Linda Bratwell. So we appreciate all those folks.
Thank you for that rundown. And if you missed that meal, council members, please make it a point next year to try to get off. It's a lot of laughs, a lot of friendly competition, a lot of creative competition. And thanks for the staff members that put that together and finding those gift cards, because anything that we can kind of reach out and help make their holiday season each year get a little bit warmer, then thanks for putting that together for them. So thank y'all. Time now is for citizens' comments. I do have several people that have put requests in to speak first during citizens' comments. And I have a little blib that I need to do, and I'll go by the order that they were received. And if by chance you want to speak in citizens' comments, I'm sorry if you're having a hard time hearing me. I'll make sure that I speak into this mic, so I apologize. If I don't call your name, but you want to speak, just raise your hand. We'll get you to fill that out, and we'll still recognize you for citizens' comments. If you're here to speak on a specific open forum or a public hearing, then when that time comes, I'll ask you to come up and introduce yourself for that specifically. Today, the first one is Henry Thornton, who lives on Hickory Creek. And sir, if you want to come up, and I do have your request, but if you'll limit it to 3 minutes, and just realize that if it's not an item that's on our agenda, we can't speak specifically on that. But if we think it's deemed necessary, we can have a staff reach out to you to try to help your concerns. So, okay.
Very good.
So thank
Thank you,
you.
Mayor Stanfield and council members, for the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Henry Thornton. I live at 121 Hickory Creek Drive here in Red Oak. I've been a resident of Hickory Creek Drive since 2010, quite some time ago. And you may recall at that time, Hickory Creek Drive was a cul-de-sac. It actually extended about a quarter of a mile from west of Villa Road down towards Red Oak Road. With the recent extension of Hickory Creek, it is now approximately 1.6 or close to 2 miles between West of Villa and Red Oak Road. And I am one of 22 or 24 homeowners that are on the west side of Hickory Creek Drive. Since the expansion of Hickory Creek, there has been a significant increase, as you can imagine, in traffic, street trash, which really bugs me, noise, and accidents. In particular, I can recall the street lamp located at the intersection of Aspen and Hickory Creek Drive has been, I think within the last 12 months, knocked down at least twice. And I think 3 times in my recollection. So there is some danger there, either with speeding or with drivers that are not very careful. Not sure what it is, but anyway, the accidents do occur. And a study by the state of Texas from a little research I did in 2020 found pedestrians are more likely to be involved in accidents on neighborhood streets. Hickory Creek Drive is a neighborhood street. It has pedestrian activity, including school children, citizens going to and from the 7-Eleven, the coffee shop, and even to Walmart. You see the activity up and down the street. It's my understanding, and every state has a basic statute requiring drivers to operate their vehicles at a speed that is, quote, reasonable and prudent for conditions. If I'm correct, the state of Texas established a default speed for residential streets at 30 miles per hour. However, I understand while the state sets the default speed limits, cities and towns can adjust the speed limits on specific streets. If I read correctly, in fact, I read an article about an SB Bill 1663 was introduced in March of 2023. I'm not even sure if it actually became law. But that particular bill was proposed in the state legislature that it would allow municipalities to lower the speed limit to 20 miles per hour if determined by the governing body that the speed limit on the road is unreasonable or unsafe. I understand municipalities can lower the speed on a residential street without a traffic study. I come to you tonight to ask for your assistance in doing a traffic count to determine the number of vehicles, the average speed, and any safety issues that regard, we have, I think, on the east side of Hickory Creek, there's no parking signs. On the west side, parking is allowed. And that, I think, is perfectly reasonable if we didn't have the excessive amount of traffic that's coming up and down Hickory Creek today. It would be nice to know if there is a baseline that would go back to 2010. If the city has any historical evidence of what the traffic count was then, just to make a comparison to what it is today. Now, I'm making the assumption that Hickory Creek Drive is a city street and not a state street, because I understand there is some differences there about who can do what. If it is a city street, am I correct to assume it is a city street?
So the answer is yes, it's a city. And I'll have to kind of stop you there. I know where it's headed, but I can ask just because you're only allowed 3 minutes.
Okay,
So, but we can sure pull up some data. We have ability to kind of
that'll be,
check that stuff and,
If I'm not mistaken, and Ben, can you correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a minor collector street rather than a strictly a residential street, right?
it is, and I don't want to go over my time limit. So what I'm really asking in summation is if I could get some help in doing a traffic study. Maybe, as a citizen, I would think of speed bumps. I would think of crosswalks. I would think of things like that. Maybe they're not reasonable, but something I would really appreciate help from the council members and you, Mr. Mayor, to help try to solve that issue. It is, in my opinion, very dangerous. Thank you.
thank you, sir, very much. And yeah, we can kind of look into that. I will kind of share the comment that if we ended up putting speed bumps, then everybody else would be coming saying it's tearing up my car. So that's probably not an option, but sir, if you'll kind of direct whoever needs to be able to try to track that information down and see. We are limited in some of our capabilities because of the collector roadway type stuff. So. Okay, good. And this is one that we need to read into record unless, Stephen Lord, are you here? Are you online? Okay, would you read this into record, since my voice is broken? So, it's, yeah.
The letter's just the council, it's just the city secretary. Mr. Lord said, I will not be able to attend the council meeting on 1/13/25 as planned. See the attached PDF document I submitted, which is his request to speak. I would like to bring attention to the dangerous intersection at St. Laurent's and Louise Ritter Boulevard. This is between two schools where a child was killed a few years back and multiple accidents have occurred. Laurent's headed north, getting on Louise Ritter is on an incline where vehicles headed east and westbound are flying. Louise Ritter is on a curve in both directions and cars can come right on you without any notice. Speeds are never monitored, nor is there any flashing lights to slow down. I would ask to please investigate and consider a need for a traffic light at the intersection before anyone else gets hurt. Sincerely, Stephen Lord.
So, and
Best we can do on that is talk to Tech Stop because it's their street.
yeah, so just for your, this is the same situation, but this is a county road, a state highway road. And so they have jurisdiction over that. We can't do that. And we'll reach out to Mr. Lord and direct him with who he can have, yeah, TxDOT to have a
Definitely
conversation.
not the first complaint we've heard about that.
Yeah,
intersection
and-
of that road, so.
Yeah, and that,
ongoing
they need to straighten that, intersection out
Yep.
a little bit. Okay, Nathan Chandler. And again, you're limited to 3 minutes, and I'm right in saying that it's not a agenda item, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Good to meet
Great.
you.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for all the city. The city is really growing and y'all have done a great job in what y'all are doing. I'm here today. The city is growing and we at the Johnson Square, right, which is 2506 Ovilla Road, right past 35. That piece of property, we've been there for 27 years. Adjacent to that piece of property, there's a vacant lot that the city owns. Since the city has really grown, and I think you all know the city has grown, we have 5 businesses there, and those businesses have grown, which is a great. We're loving everything that's happening in the city of Red Oak, and so it is really great that we have more people coming. The only issue we have that we don't have enough parking. Parking is really getting congested at different times. And so with the city owning the adjacent property, like I said, we've been there 27 years. The property has been vacant for 27 years. We're just asking if there's anything that y'all could do from the city, if we could either purchase the property, lease the property, or if we could just use the property for parking until the city decides what they want to do. So our whole agenda is just to try to help each one of our tenants. The tenants, like I say, we just need more parking. And with the city growing, the reason that we need more parking is because the city's growing. So since there's more neighborhoods, more people, there are a lot more people and more traffic in that area. So we're just asking the city to see what y'all can do. We believe that y'all could help us. We really do believe that y'all could help us. And so we hope that y'all will look into that piece of property and see what y'all can do for us. And that was all I had.
All right.
Let me add to that too. So the piece of property is roughly right on Overlook Road. So Overlook and Ovilla Road, right there on that corner, the road was widened. And so that piece of property was cut down. So that piece of property is a smaller piece of property, maybe roughly about 60 by 150. That would give us 22 parking spaces if we were able to get that piece of property. So I just want to give that information as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and so I assume and you say it's EDC that.
Yes.
Okay, so have you? and you-
Yes,
Okay,
multiple times.
so there's a distinction between who owns the property and it's not the city. You know that, you understand that.
Okay, no, we were under the impression the city owned that piece of property.
City Economic Development Corporation,
Say that again?
the Red Oak Economic Development.
Is that not the same thing?
No,
Okay,
It
No.
falls underneath the city, but it's not the city. It's a separate entity.
okay,
unto
well,
itself.
okay. Well, I'm not sure if the city could help us, the councilman could help us even with that, since it's the same entity some type of way. If that's something that y'all could discuss, that would really help us.
yeah, they do their own little thing and they do fall underneath us, but if you've gone to them and talked and they have not accepted it, there's not much that we as council can do.
Okay,
So-
well, this is my first time coming
Okay,
for the city council up under the mayor. So that's the reason I just want to come in
Okay.
and just acknowledge that. All right.
yeah, and I can tell y'all are busy. It's crazy. When I drive by there, there's lots of people parking there, so just be safe getting out of there. But thank you very
Thank you.
much. So
Mr. Mayor, is this a parking agreement that we're referring to? I know I heard purchase of the lot, but parking agreement, was that something that you spoke on side or
No, it was about buying the property.
just the purchase?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If we can't purchase property, it's okay. We would be willing just to use the property if the city would allow us to. If they would just allow us to use the property to park on, we don't have to purchase it until they figure out what they're gonna do with it. Either way. So I wanted to just put that out there.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, El Presidente Hughley, might, who is in charge of that, might, hear that and, might be able to figure something out, but.
Okay, well, yeah, just like I said, even if we could use it, we just need some help if we can from the city.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you very much. And that is the same for Ms. Phillips. So, Ms. Phillips, come on down and introduce yourself.
Sir?
Hi, I'm the owner of Teachers Who Tutor. I know that on that same property at Johnson Square, and I was in,
So first, state your name and.
oh, I'm
your
sorry,
address.
Diana Phillips.
Okay.
I'm the owner and director of Teachers Who Tutor. And I've been at that property for 8 years. And before then, we were out in Ovilla. Okay, at a Shell station. I don't know if you guys have gone down Ovilla Road and seen the old building, Teachers Who Tutor. But anyway, to make a long story short, since I've been at Johnson Square, we started off back when with 20 kids a week. Okay, so if you're doing 20 kids a week, it doubles to 40. Parents come twice. And within the last 6 to 8 years, we serve about 80, 85 kids a week, all from neighboring schools, even from Waxahachie. And the crisis, it's for a crisis for a small business owner, is parking space. My parents aren't in and out parents. They stay with us because we're so affordable. And each person at that site, each employee, I have 5 teachers, all master's degree, including me, and we don't play. Our kids are learning. But the problem is doggone parking. You know, when you have parents from all economic groups, all financially supportive of this program, and I'm losing parents because of parking, not because of skill levels or anything that we're doing. So that's why I wanted to share with you guys, we need help. We're serving the community. We don't get paid much as teachers. You know what it's like, some of you. And what we're doing is great. I've had a couple of students, 2nd grade, now they're in high school because of mentoring and role modeling. And I don't want to see parents, I don't want to turn parents away because of parking. So that's why I'm here. Something needs to be done, going back and forth. I'm tired of worrying the owner of Johnson Square. I worry that man to death. So I need to know what's next. I don't want to lose any more kids. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, was there anybody else that wished to speak at open forum? Okay, I assume anybody else that's going to be during a agenda item. Okay, thank you all for coming and we'll have somebody kind of reach out to you then, so. So now's the time for what we call consent agenda. Consent agenda are items that are considered routine in nature and can be acted upon in one motion. Any council member can have an item pulled aside and discussed separately, or we can include them all together. Is there any item that wishes to be, that you need to be pulled for further clarification?
No item.
For me.
Councilman Smith, are you still on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. You can't vote though, right? So there he is. So do you hear that? You can vote if we can see you, so.
Yes, all right.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Don't move.
Second.
That's Goodwin and Franklin. Those in favor,
Franklin, I.
Good one, I.
Miller, aye.
Lightfoot, I.
Smith, aye.
and that's 5-0.
Testing.
So what?
We heard you.
Okay, thank
Just tested this microphone.
you. Okay. Item 7 is to discuss and consider adoption of resolution 25-005R, the City Council, City of Red Oak, Texas, approving the resolution authorizing the issuance of Red Oak Economic Development Corporation sales tax revenue bonds saleable taxable series 2025 and all matters related to. And this is,
Sign cover. Between me and Simone's.
okay, so it's a tag team.
So this is sales tax bonds for purchase of property, the properties that we've discussed in executive session multiple times. This is the culmination of what we've been working on for the last couple of months of trying to get the financing and funding package together. So EDC met previously this evening, and approved, the issuance of $12 million in sales tax bonds. The thing that is a little bit different about this sale is that with the holidays and with the rating agencies, we haven't been able to get the pricing yet. And we have done this in the past where we select pricing agents, and then we put a not to exceed on there. And that's what's being asked, and that's what EDC has approved, is approving myself and the EDC Vice President, Tim Lightfoot, as the pricing officers. And Jim Sabonis and his team would try to get that priced as quickly as possible, because due to some of the events taking place in California and otherwhere, we've seen a trend ticking upwards in interest rates. So where it had initially come in and been expected to be 5.85 or lower, they're looking at now it may have clicked up to about 6.25. So we're looking at a parameter set of 6.75. If it came back higher than that, we would need to go back to the board and to the council to get that reapproved.
IDC, issued the other day about 4.1, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's gone up significantly.
Yeah, that's 50% pop.
It's gone up pretty drastically in the, last month?
Jim Sabonis with Hilltop City and Corporation. That transaction was tax exempt, so it had a lower interest rate because of tax exempt status, and interest rates have risen.
These aren't tax exempt then?
Excuse me,
Oh, okay, all right.
this will be a taxable issue,
I see.
because the goal is to purchase the land and redevelop it in that case. But rates are going and they're moving upward. To follow up on Todd's point, earlier they approved a resolution, a not to exceed interest rate of 6.75%, $12 million not to exceed, and setting a maximum date of February 10th. There's been, the rating agency's been inundated with issuers, taking longer for them to get a rating than anticipated. We've actually already been confirmed for the AA bond insurance. They're just waiting for the rating to be confirmed to give us pricing. And we anticipate within the next few days having the rating and going to market thereafter, and working with the pricing officers to finalize the pricing. The goal is to close this, price it, close it as quick as possible. To catch the rates as they're, before they move up more, and be able to close on the property.
Okay. Thank you both. Counselor, is there any other questions? So we actually have a specific bond, motion that, legal is gonna read for us.
Yes, council, as a result of the presentation of the city manager and our financial advisor, Jim Sabonis, we would ask to end the recommendation of the Red Oak Economic Development Corporation, consider a motion to approve a resolution which authorizes the sale of Red Oak Economic Development Corporate Sales Tax Revenue Bonds, taxable series 2025, in an amount not to exceed $12 million and an interest rate not to exceed 6.75, and establishing the procedures and delegating the authority to the city manager, Todd Fuller, and the vice president of the EDC, Tim Lightfoot, as pricing officers to approve the sale at the most favorable rate as a parameter sale on or before February 10th, 2025.
So reading that, I'd hear for, is that a first? But you can't make it.
I can't
Somebody
make
needs
a
to
motion.
move that.
So
Someone
someone
move it?
so move and a second.
So move.
Okay, that was Franklin.
Second.
And that was Miller. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item 8, conduct a public hearing and consider approval of ordinance number 25-001, City Council, City of Red Oak, Texas, providing for the voluntary annexation of territory generally described as being approximately 96.564 plus or minus acres of land situated in the Lucy Vaughn Survey Abstract Number 1103 in the city of Red Oak, ETJ, Ellis County, Texas, as described and depicted in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein for all purposes to the city of Red Oak, Texas. And that's all I need to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks for providing that.
So, this is, and we've already discussed this previously, setting the dates. But this is property that's owned by the Economic Development Corporation, and they are voluntarily annexing that into the city. And it is adjacent to property that is already within the city, so staff recommends approval as well.
All right. So this is a public hearing. The time is 7:40. I'll open this public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this item number? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion at 7:41 to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
That's Lightfoot and Franklin. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Edward, aye.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That's 5-0 to close it. Council, is there any questions? The piece of properties highlighted on that map. Can you see that, Councilman Smith?
Yes, I can see it.
All right. Any questions?
No question.
No question.
Right. Entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 25-001.
So moved.
Second.
Goodwin?
Second.
Miller? Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Edward, aye.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That passes 5-0. Item 9, conduct a public hearing and consider approval of ordinance number 25-002, the City Council, City of Red Oak, Texas, providing for the voluntary annexation of territory generally described as being approximately 322.1244 plus or minus acres of land situated in the John Bell Survey Abstract Number 61 and the William H. Morris Survey Abstract Number 719 and the James M. Riggs Survey Abstract Number 902 in the city of Red Oak, ETJ, Ellis County, Texas, as described and depicted in Exhibit A and attached hereto and incorporated herein for all purposes to the city of Red Oak, Texas.
Okay. And this actually is related to the zoning case that will be the next item. But it's also being voluntarily annexed. I believe it was originally subject to non-annexation agreement. They're wanting to develop it and are bringing the property in. Some of what they're going to be zoning or requesting zoning on in the next item is already within the city limits, but this would be additional to that. Do you have any questions? Otherwise, staff recommends approval.
Okay, so this is a public hearing also, and the time is 7:43, and we will open this public hearing. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on this public hearing? Time is 7:44, and I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So move.
Second.
That's Miller and Franklin. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Goodwin, aye.
Miller, aye.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That's 5-0 to close that public hearing. Council, is there any questions? I have a question, so can you help orient me to where that is? So that's Rocket, right? Yeah. Yeah, can you pull it up on that one right there? That'll help me a lot more.
This tracks, this one, this one.
So there's the Rocket Cafe, okay, I got it. And that's that little street right there, that trailer's right there,
Mhm.
okay. And Hargrove's place is where, south of that. Okay. Y'all got your orientation?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that.
All right. Everybody good? Any questions?
No question.
No
All right,
questions.
entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 25-002.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Lightfoot. Goodwin. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Goodwin, aye.
Miller, aye.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
And that's 5-0. Item 10, conduct a public hearing and consider approval of ordinance number 25-003, City Council, City of Red Oak, Texas, amending the comprehensive zoning ordinance and map of the City of Red Oak, Texas, as heretofore amended by granting a change in zoning from agricultural AG to planned development 179, PD 179, to allow for the development of a data center complex and associated infrastructure on approximately 718.1238 acres of land on a site described as approximately 3,400 feet north of the Fair Road and west of Sutton Road, as provided on Exhibit A. Do I need to do the rest of this? Okay. Dr. Emma.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item actually was the one that we just looked at, the previous item with the annexation for about 300 plus acres. And this zoning case encapsulates what is already in the city limits and that property which was just annexed into the city limits. So I'll give it a second while it loads. So the applicant is proposing to construct a data center complex, and they're proposing 17 data center facilities, 3 administrative buildings, 11 switch stations, 9 detention ponds, and access will be from 813, 2377, and Sutton Road. Let me zoom in.
Yeah, good.
Orient you. 813 here. And then as you can see, this is the primary access here. And then another entry point to the site. Will be from FM 983
It was spread out all over the place.
up here. And then Sutton Road goes through the property.
Okay, that's a pretty big complex.
Yes, it is. So a couple of items that usually come up with data center complexes. Number one is a screening. There are a couple of properties that do already have the residential zoning adjacent to the property. So in addition to the minimum landscaping requirements, the applicant will be providing evergreen shrubs adjacent to properties that are zoned residential. As you can see, this is more of a conceptual plan. But when they do come in and submit for the detailed development plan, they'll need to submit the landscape plan along with elevation. So this is just for the concept submittal to get this in.
Emma, just
Mhm.
for clarity, those are not in the city limits, the homes.
Yes, yeah. So there's the properties that are in the yellow are in the ETJ, but the properties, for example, the one that we just talked about, Mr. Hargrove, that is zoned residential with a PD. So they are showing the evergreen screen shrubbery screening, but what you see in the yellow is the city's ETJ. So so with the landscaping, they will be providing one large tree that's going to be 3-inch caliber per every 40 linear feet along any street frontages. And they'll also be providing 50% shrubbery screening along frontages as well, and interior parking landscaping. They will be providing for security purposes an 8-foot minimum wrought iron black fencing for security. And actually see if we can. So this is kind of an inset of how it's supposed to look, for example, a data center and the parking. Like with other data center submittals, they will need to submit a photometric plan when they submit for their detailed development plan to show lighting to prove that it's going to be pointed downward and not have glare on neighboring properties. The maximum building height comparable to other data centers is going to be 70 feet. And the construction hours that's already been put in the PD is going to be from Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Similar to other data centers that have been approved. And the maximum DBA for noise will be 70, comparable to other data centers that have been approved. And any equipment generators will be required to have sound attenuation built into it or around it. The way that the site was developed, and designed, it was so that the buildings are located on the interior and the equipment yards are also located in the interior of the sites as well. And they will be 100% screened from the right of way. That's also written into the PD requirements.
So basically it's taking like DataBank and Compass and Google and so forth and all the regulations that we have for all those other data centers and applying similar regulations, but geared towards this particular site.
So the future land use plan does support industrial uses that are going to be high capital intensive and generally are going to have a low impact use on the surrounding areas. And considering that generally for data centers, about 20 to 30 employees per building and 718 acres, it's going to be generally low considering the size of the property. The Planning and Zoning Commission, they did recommend support of the request with the condition that the property be annexed into the city limits, which it was just annexed in the previous agenda item.
That it? Yep. Okay. So this is a public hearing and we'll open the public hearing at 7:53. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on this item?
Applicant is here. You have questions.
Okay. Sometimes it's not better to speak in front of us though. Okay, the time is 7:54 and I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
And that's Franklin and Goodwin. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Good one, I.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That passes 5-0. So, Ms. Fuller, can you kind of catch me up on when there's some changes with county roads and things like that? And has that played into this development here?
They have looked at it and prefer our alignment.
Oh, so they're gonna stick with ours and not theirs?
Yep.
Okay, so we're good and they're good with that, so, okay, cool. I like our alignment too, better also. County's not as good as us. Anyway, Councilman, is there any, you have questions about this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have two.
Okay.
Dr. Emma, nice presentation, by the way. Is this a natural creek that I see flowing through the subject?
This one?
Right where, yes.
Yeah, that's Brushy Creek.
Yeah, that's brushy.
200 feet, yeah, Brushy Creek.
Okay, I want to clarify that. And could you scroll, I guess, it'll be south. It was an area that you said was a PD within, yeah, this gray area.
Yes,
This is an existing PD for a single family?
yes.
But large acre lots, large, like. this
How
was
large?
Like,
6/10 and a half acre.
Okay. Okay,
So it's been approved, but it's been put on hold.
that's all I have. Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, applicant, but I believe this may be expanded. They're looking at some other property as well, so we may expand upon this moving forward.
Expand the data center? The
The
acreage?
acreage.
Okay.
Good evening, Dylan Adame, Kimley Horn Associates, 2600 North Central Expressway, Richardson, Texas. I'm the applicant on the project. That is correct. There is some additional land that we're looking into, but at this time, not for consideration, but yes, at this location, we understand that the PD next door is zone single family. So we've done everything to try and follow the city's guidelines on screening and mitigating for the fact that we will be neighbors with these residences and we want to be good neighbors.
Have you had any communication with the developer?
I have not, no.
Hmm.
But we are aware of this and we, again, have tried to do everything we can within the bounds of the ordinance to screen from it.
He's very aware of it.
The developer?
It's Casey Harper.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you probably sell it, go.
thank you, sir. Any other questions?
I have none.
No question. No question.
No
All
questions.
right. Entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 25-003.
So move.
That is Miller and Goodwin.
Yep.
Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Good one, I.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That's 5-0. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And lastly, we have conduct a public hearing and consider approval of ordinance number 25-004, the City Council, City of Red Oak, Texas, amending the comprehensive zoning ordinance and map of the City of Red Oak, Texas, as heretofore amended by granting a change in zoning from Plan Development 106 revised to PD 106 R2 to Plan Development 106 revised 3 PD 106 R3 by amending the development regulations to allow for development, use, and maintenance of a storage warehouse on property described as Lot 2, Block A of the project Cardinal and addressed as 387 North Austin Boulevard in conjunction with the main structure within the planned development district in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, depicted in Exhibit A.
Mayor and council, this is a request, this is, first of all, this is for Compass Data Center. Here's Avila Road, and then here's Austin, and then here's Houston School Road. And this is the Compass Data Center complex.
Speak up, can you?
Huh?
Speak up.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So, the way that the Compass Data Center ordinance was approved was that accessory structures are only permitted on lots which have, a main building, which is going to be larger than the accessory structure. The applicant is requesting for an accessory structure to be located on a lot that does not have a main building on it, but it will serve only the Compass Data Center complex and the Schneider complex located here. So it's only going to serve properties that have this current PD 106 and PD 1534 Schneider Electric. They are proposing, get to the plan. They're proposing a 50,000 square foot warehouse, which would be used to service those PDs that I just referenced. And it'll be used for the businesses to store equipment, have a break room in there, and each suite will be 5,000 square feet. So this is it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so what this does is it allows, they'll have a huge number of generators and HVAC units on site. So those employees don't work directly for Compass Data Center or the end user, but it allows them to have their space on site. So it is actually bringing in more jobs local to Red Oak. Almost kind of like Snyder was. It brought in the jobs to help provide the service to Compass and the data centers. This is doing the same thing, bringing those jobs in so that they have space on site to store their supplies and have their employees' office out of. So it brings some actual direct employees from those companies, but indirect employees for
What's the construction? What's
the
it made of?
tilt wall.
Yeah, okay, good enough. Might be 10, we didn't want that.
No,
I have to laugh that an accessory building of 50,000 square
Yeah.
feet.
and the 50,000, is that just phase one or is that both?
That's
phases?
going to be phase one. So they're also showing phase two on the concept plan, but they'll have to still come back before us. They'll have to amend the PD to get that approved. So that's for an additional 25,000 square feet.
Why
in the
can't we do
future.
it all at once?
Huh?
Why can't we do it all at once?
The applicant is here to answer that as
Okay,
to
well,
why they may not
I'm just-
want to do
we-
it
we-
right now.
We can approve the use, but they don't have the actual
Right.
plans
right.
together. So they'll have to bring back the,
But I mean,
the
that,
plans
is that not something that's internal, could be internal?
Done administratively.
Yeah. I'm just asking, I'm
If
just,
you write the regulations that way, the answer is yes. But I don't know if you're prepared to do that.
okay, well then forget me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I was just trying to save them another step.
Right.
You know, they can still pay the money, but they don't have to come back. I mean, it's just.
I was, I have a couple of questions, but we're.
Sure.
I can wait till after the public hearing.
Sure. Is that good for what you need to talk to us about?
Yes.
Give us the background?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a public hearing and the time is 8:03 and we will open this public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this public hearing? Not quite a minute. So,
You should wait until 8:03, but then you know.
oh, okay. So,
We can just vote to close it sometime in the future, like 8:04.
Yeah, close enough. So, by the time I get this out, so the time is 8:04 and I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
No move. Second.
Goodwin and Lightfoot. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Goodwin, aye.
Miller, aye.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That's 5-0. Council, do you have questions?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's more of clarification. So the use that we're proposing is a warehouse. However, per
Yes.
ordinance, that's considered an accessory use and not a main use?
Because it's on site.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
My question was very similar. I was just saying it's a warehouse, but it sounds like it's office space, employee space, maybe even sublet to another third party vendor of some
Primarily,
kind.
the way the ordinance read, primarily a warehouse. So, but it can only,
Primarily.
it can only service
That centers there.
data centers that are within the PD.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
So it keeps them selling off to somebody else and turn it into a warehouse.
okay. Council, did you write that ordinance?
I did.
You wrote it?
Yeah.
Man of many talents.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know, he do too good on
Ask
this.
me, I let me operate on a couple of cats.
Thank you, Dr. Emma.
Okay, any other?
Kidding.
I held his hand while he wrote it. Any other questions?
That's fine. None.
Okay, so entertain a motion to approve this ordinance.
So moved.
25-004, and that's Goodwin. And Lightfoot. Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Goodwin, aye.
Miller, aye.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, I.
That passes 5-0. Thank y'all
Emma,
very much.
Emma, hang on just a second. I wanted to let council know that we're losing Dr. Emma. She is taking another job.
Oh, good.
I told her she couldn't, but she didn't care. So this will be her last meeting.
We didn't vote on that.
But we, I just want to, I know y'all enjoyed her being here and we wanted to say how much we appreciate everything she's done. So
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you,
It's
Doctor.
nice working with y'all.
Thank you for your service. Good luck.
You'll be back. Hey, we live a lot closer than Garland, so you gotta be back, you know? You're not moving, are you? Oh, no. Hey, we can get you a house a little cheaper.
yeah, I think her husband took the job.
Atlanta are hard
I
to
know.
keep,
That's fine. We hate
hard to keep.
that gum, Hartman, you're gonna have to work now, aren't you? Chief, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Would like to highlight, we sent crews on December 29th, out to Lubbock. And it was, Captain Lance Wilkinson, driver engineer George Guerrero that's here this evening, and firefighter Randy Clark. They were pre-positioned out there at the request of Tiffmas for some increased wildfire weather. They then moved on January 4th down to Uvalde, just a, short trip from Lubbock to Uvalde, not very far. And they were down there, so they spent the new year on the road, away from their families. We greatly appreciate their service and their dedication to the state. And they returned home last Tuesday, January the 7th. So they are home. We did have, we'll go into more detail when we get our annual report out, but we did have 11.4% increase in call volume in 2024 compared to 23. So against that growth, which when we start looking at numbers, it's about 1,000 call difference between 2020 to 2024. So lots of growth and good things happening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I don't have anything else unless y'all have any questions.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief Wolf.
Mayor, Council, just a couple of things. I wanted to let you know that our recruit who is in the academy took and passed his TCOL examination today. He'll graduate next Tuesday, start orientation, a 2-week orientation Wednesday. And then once that's completed, he'll start his 21-week field training. and I hope to be able to bring him to council next month. The animal shelter renovation and expansion is proceeding. They have started and pretty much completed demolition on the interior of the existing structure and have started pushing dirt and preparing to pour for the expansion. So that's moving really well. The temporary shelter seems to be doing very well. And we're not really having any problems out of the temporary shelter. Wanted to let you know that we're hopeful to have our annual report completed and be able to present that to council next month as well. And I'll be happy to answer any questions on the monthly if you have any.
I have none.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. And I have none.
Speak up,
Ms. Beasley.
Speak up,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Want to start off by thanking everybody for participating in the State of the City video. We are working on finalizing the editing on that right now. And we'll be showing that at the January 22nd Chamber Luncheon. So I know the mayor is already will be in attendance. But if any other council members would like to be in attendance, if you will just let me know and we will get you RSVP'd for that. It is at noon on January 22nd. In addition to that, with the this month's or December's monthly report, just wanted to notate that we kind of did a little bit something different and did kind of a wrap up of 2024, not a full year end report, but some highlights from our accomplishments for 2024. So a couple I wanted to highlight real quick. We saw about double in not only our event vendor attendance, our event sponsorship dollars raised, but also rentals happening at the Municipal Center. So my coordinators have been very, very busy with special events as well as rentals at the facility. And then on our third page, you'll kind of see some of our major highlights as related to digital media and social media. So our marketing specialist, Danielle, is very proud of our two videos that went viral last year. So, you know, kudos to her and everything she's doing. And then we've seen a lot of increase in our engagement as well as our followers on most of our platforms due to the increase of photo video that we've been doing over the past year. So I'm very appreciative for our team members and everything that they've produced this past year, as well as if you want to take a look at the final page, it shows some of the things that we're going to be coming and bringing to you guys in 2025. I will take any questions anybody has.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Mr. Hartman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to highlight a few numbers from our year-end report that I included in the staff report. So we did 366 new home permits, and that's the most that we've ever done since we've been keeping track of it. So we've got numbers back to 2010, and we made a little chart. It's in the report. So in 2010, we had 38 new homes, and this year we had 366. So just squeaked by 2022 that had 363. We did a lot of new commercial stuff as well. It was bigger projects, so it was only 10 permits for new construction. But our total permit numbers for, so we took in just a little over $6 million in permit fees. But what that equates to of actual construction on the ground is almost $500 million with a B, 480 million. So just shy of that $500 million mark. So big year for Red Oak, and lots of stuff going through our department, which I couldn't do, and very appreciative of our very efficient staff that we have in our little department.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Well done.
How are you?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Some of the highlights in our financial report, our sales tax are increased from the prior year to date. by about 14%, and that equates to about 8.5% of our budget. So we're doing well. Our property taxes were actually quite a bit was collected in December. Our property tax is sitting at about 46% of our budgeted revenue already. And that's a significant increase from prior December, the collections then. Building permits, the revenues are currently at 52, almost 53% of budgeted revenues. So right on par with what Ben was saying. It's doing very well. The overall revenues for the major funds, the general fund is sitting about 35% of budgeted revenue, but the water and sewer fund are only sitting at about 20% of budgeted revenues. All the expenses for the major funds, the general fund, the water, sewer, and drainage, they are all under the 25% mark, which is where we want them for this time period. To bring a highlight to one of the court statistics, the traffic citations was actually significantly increased at 143 compared to this time last year. It was only 45, and last month only 78. So it did jump up significantly. And then lastly, our interest on investments is holding strong at about 3.52%. Which is pretty good market rate. The finance department is still working on completing the audit. The auditors are on their third week of field work, the third of 4 weeks of field work, and that will continue until we issue at the end of March. And budget is still working on the budget book, and then we'll be gearing up for the New Year's budget here soon. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Miss Amanda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Hopefully you can hear me. Just a quick update on recruitment for December. We hired 3 new hires last month, and right now we have about 8 job postings on our city website for applicants to apply for. I also want to give the annual turnover rate for our staff this year. It was up just slightly for 14.3%. And I would just preface also, we had a handful of retirements this year, so that did contribute to that increase of turnover. But we are in a good place with our number of employees. And then I also want to highlight that we had our annual holiday luncheon this year on December 20th. I want to thank you all that were able to come and those that weren't. We do appreciate the opportunity to provide that luncheon and service awards for the employees. And I also want to thank our Employee Appreciation Committee for all the hard work that they do to make that happen, because that's just not my expertise, but we have a whole group of individuals that enjoy putting that together for everybody. And I'm available to answer any questions you may have about the report. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Benford.
Mayor, Council, just a couple of highlights. Our enterprise data backup application and system that you approved, we did get that in, and we started building that today with the vendor. So hopefully we'll have some good news to share with you next month on how well that's working. We completed the network install in the maker space in the library, and I think that's all going well. And we also, one thing we did do, Department of Homeland Security is monitoring any networks that any cities want to put up there. So we sent ours in, and they'll start monitoring that pretty soon. So it'll help us, one more thing to watch out for bad guys for us. So, and it's free. So, well, I'm sure we pay for it. Somebody pays for it, but we can say it's free. So, yeah, unless you have any other questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Cook.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
As you know, in the library, we like to stay busy, so December was no exception for us, even with the holidays. We participated in Christmas in Red Oak and hosted the Letters to Santa inside our library. We love participating in that every year and look forward to continuing that. We also partnered with Parks and Recreation for our annual Polar Express movie event. So that was a good turnout. Had a great time while I was gone. In December, we also received our AWE learning stations. So if you recall, that was a grant that we had applied for and were awarded by the Ladd and Catherine Hancher Foundation. So we were able to finish getting all those nuts and bolts put together and got them installed in the library. So if you haven't peeked in, be sure to stop by and see those new stations. The kids love them and have been actively using them since they've been installed. We also continued a new partnership with the North Ellis County Outreach. We've partnered with them in several different ways since I've started here. And so with Christmas, we decided to partner with them by doing a Santa tree for the first time. So they gave us 20 different tags with children in our community that were in need, anonymously, of course. And we were able to partner with them and get our community involved and get all the library participants involved. And so all in all, throughout the month of December, we were able to get 20 different children facilitated with needs for Christmas and otherwise. So we're very thankful for everybody that participated in that and look forward to doing that again next year. The library also did something new in December, offering free gift wrapping to the community. And we had a good turnout for that for the 3 weeks or so that we put that on. So be sure to come by next year if you have trouble wrapping your gifts. We got a lot of dads that came by. Of course, as John mentioned, we have gotten our makerspace area set up. The walls were fully installed in December. So the Red Oak Library staff are actively working on finishing getting the equipment set up, policies and procedures in place, kind of a training manual set up for everybody to use that new equipment. We're hoping to put a date together for a grand opening ceremony sometime in February. So we'll be sure to let you all know once that date is set in place to have a grand opening for that makerspace area. Last thing is the library is currently partnering with the 419 Food Pantry here locally in Red Oak, doing a food drive for the community. So this will be going on from now until January 24th. So if you have any pantry items or anything that people could use, be sure to drop them by the library before January 24th. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Ma'am? Mr. Kelly?
Howdy, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to update a couple of things. First of all, I'll start off with my employees. I want to praise them, how good of a job they are. They're very efficient, always do a good job. And we've been able to add another team member. We'll introduce him next month at council meeting. He's a nighttime and evening guy that is going to help our team get stronger. Also wanted to say congratulations, Danny Weimer, our park superintendent, for being nominated for Employee of the Year. It's a couple years in a row he has been. He's great to work with, and you know it's a hard deal to get that Employee of the Year because it is it's very coveted, and there's a lot of good employees working here. So congratulations to Danny. Wanted to also highlight that the Senior Citizen Center is substantially complete and operational. We're lacking some lights in the back right now, so we're waiting on the contractor to be able to get the materials in. So one of the things that we wanted to do in this is we wanted to make sure that the building not only looks good, but it also is functional and safe. So the lighting was very important. So we've got exterior lighting in that building that's wasn't existent before, updated the lighting on the inside. Those were some key elements of that. There was several big elements to it, but getting those done as far as the safety and everything inside of the building, functionality, ADA, things like that, that was very important to us. We did have to unfortunately move the Catch a Trout from last week. We're going to move it till Saturday after next on the 25th. Same hours, 8 to 10. The fish will be delivered the week before the event sometime during a time slot, which we'll get notification of about 24 hours in advance. So there should be plenty of fish. There's roughly 3,000 fish going to be delivered. So if anybody gets there early, I don't think they're going to catch all the fish before the kids get a chance. So that'll be a good event. If anybody would love to come by, we'd like to have you out there. It's a really fun event to see the kids get to have a good time out there and fish. And you don't necessarily have to stay the whole time, but just love to see your face out there if you have the opportunity to come by. And then to wrap that up, we'll have the Touch a Truck event next month on February the 22nd. And that'll also be over at Pearson. And that's the event where we have county, states, all kinds of large police, fire vehicles, everything that kids don't normally get to see. They get that opportunity to come out and touch, play with, talk to the operators. And hopefully one day that's something that they'll be doing. Or maybe they'll be our next police or firefighters, and we'll just give them the opportunity to start that dream. With that, is there any questions?
Does Lions Club still meet in that building?
Yes, sir. They do. We have an agreement with them where they get 10 meetings a year in the building and any special events that they want, 2 special events. So generally, Ms. Eva Richardson will contact us the month before, give us the date, and we'll post that on the sign for them.
Good enough. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Benford.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and welcome to the new year. I just wanted to start off with acknowledging my public works staff last week for the winter weather response. They're not typically here around the clock, but they worked about 48 hours straight. I mean, different staff, they rotated out, but they were here for that. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But you know, we were there, we were prepared, and thank you so much, PD, fire, for the communication constantly throughout the entire thing. It was a breeze. It was like we do this every day of the week. It was great. Couple project updates. We have our pre-construction meeting for the new elevated storage tank this week. So super excited to start seeing that come up. Last month, we replaced almost 300 square yards of concrete panels in the city, Red Oak Road, Harmony Way, and then we start on Dobbitts this month, closer to the 35 Service Road. 9 panels there. Pierce Street Sewer Project is 10% complete, so we're moving along there. And we are starting to work on our annual water use and water loss audit, and we'll get those numbers as soon as we have them. But that's all I have for now, unless anybody has any questions.
I have none.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
sir. Okay, the time, we got stuff right. Okay. The time is 8:26, and we will go into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.087, 551.072, and we may or may not be taking. Okay, we'll have action when we come back out. So,
Thank you, staff. I appreciate it.
thank you all very much. Hey, Ben? I don't like to be a narc or anything, but you know where I live.
I'm here. Ooh.
Better look and see what's in it. That's all I'm rummaging through there. So we actually already had an annual 5K.
You did, we did, yeah.
We had it there for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years.
What's that?
5K run.
Oh, 5K?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I are big on that.
Oh, yeah. Parks a good one, but it's been a while. It's been okay for the first year or two and then.
All right.
We may be big enough now.
You good?
I'm in.
All right, the time is at 8:54, 8:55, and we will come back into open session. Councilman Smith, you on?
Yes.
All right. And we do have one agenda, whatever it's called.
One action.
One item.
You want me to read the motion or we want to discuss it first? Read the motion?
Yeah, let's read the motion.
All right. So I'll make a motion to approve an interlocal cooperative agreement by and between the city of Midlothian and the city of Red Oak in the amount for the city of Red Oak not to exceed 1.8 million to purchase and implement new CAD software to operate the Joint Emergency Dispatch Center and authorize the city manager to execute the same after approval as to form by the city attorney.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Lightfoot, second by Councilman Franklin. Discussion on this, council.
Well, I'll just reiterate that it's for software for police department. for
Dispatch and
dispatch.
communication and CAD software.
Yeah, CAD software for that.
Okay. Any others? Those in favor?
Franklin, I.
Goodwin, aye.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, aye.
That's 5-0. Give that to Karen. So she knows them. That's right. Any other items? Nope.
No, sir.
So, thank you, to staff and legal. And the time is 8:56 and I'll entertain a motion to go home.
So moved.
Second.
Franklin. Those in favor?
Ben,
Good one.
Willie.
Goodwin, aye.
Miller, I.
Lightfoot, aye.
Smith, aye.
Let's go.